gonna buck the status quo. No ranks, no chains, just unity. One tribe, one light, one destiny. No ranks, no chains, just unity. One tribe, one light, one destiny. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Oh, bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo. Oh, bucking the status quo. We gonna buck the status quo.
Awesome, awesome. Great to be back. Great to be
Yeah.
back. How you doing, Will? How
Doing
you
good,
feeling?
man. Enjoying that new music that we just heard there on the intro.
Yep. That's a new song created by Irreverent Warriors, Bucking the Status Quo. And it's about the foundation and the Warriors all working together to create a new culture of healing in the veteran space.
Super cool, man. You going to put that on like Apple Music for $1 download, try to raise some money for IW, or what's going
Possibly. We'll probably throw it on YouTube. you
Yeah,
know?
man.
So
like it.
people can check it out. But yeah, it's a wonderful new song put together by the crew. And yeah.
on? Who's the musical talent? Who's playing what there?
Who's playing what there?
Who did the lyrics?
Who did the lyrics? I wrote most of the lyrics with some input.
Yeah.
With some input, yeah. But yeah, the beat was made by software program, and yeah, the lyrics.
Sounds good. Did you do the singing? Did you do the?
I'm not that good. I'm not that good.
Well,
I
you're
didn't do
good.
the auto tune.
Yeah, people may not know this, but Hugh is actually an accomplished DJ.
Yes, not singer, but yes, I can scratch. I can scratch on the ones and twos.
We need to do that, like maybe next Friday. Well, I don't know if we'll be back from DC in time next Friday. Maybe 2 weeks after that.
Yep.
Bring in your whole setup, and we'll do a little DJ Hugh show. What was your DJ name?
So it was my normal name, DJ Hugh
DJ
Tyson.
Hugh Tyson. All right, man.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I got the DJ with the Black Eyed Peas and Nelly and
What?
Busta Rhymes and
Really?
yeah,
Man, you did a lot.
I got to be on stage with I DJ'd for the St. Louis Rams NFL team.
Yeah, that's amazing. Why didn't you follow that path? Why did you?
The hours were always till 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, that's not good for family life.
No, and we started a family, and I really wanted to be a good present husband and dad, and I think I've done a good job at that. But
Yeah, you got a great
yeah,
family.
it was all worth it. But yes, no, I DJ in my basement still.
Well, man, you got to have a hobby. It's good.
Yeah,
now we've got a captive audience on this program. I'm
Yes.
telling you, man, we got to bring back DJ Hugh Tyson.
Oh man, I don't know. Do they want to hear 90s hip hop? Like, how much do they love the Wu-Tang Clan?
Why not, man?
right?
I'll get a like a clock and be your like Flavor Flav hype man.
You would be an awesome
I'd totally
Flavor
do it.
Flav.
I'm totally
I would totally give you that.
That's right. What time is it? Well, kick us off, man. What are we talking about today? What's going
Awesome.
on?
Well, this week, I mean, the most important thing going on in all of Grunt Style Foundation and Irreverent Warriors is this week We've got our DC war cry for change and mini Silkies hike happening for the overprescription problem in the United States with veterans. And that's definitely the number one thing. So we're going to talk about that a lot. I know you've had a good hand in that, and I really want the listeners and viewers to understand all that's taking place and the symbolism and why.
That's right.
Each step of what we're doing in DC and why it's so important to the future of the veteran space. I think what's about to happen is our tribe here is about to change the way that veteran healing options and mental health healing options are viewed by the public at large. You know, with this press conference, with the congressional support, with the VFW, which shout out to the VFW, with the VFW's level of support and engagement, I think we're really going to be able to drive change in this country. Whereas a lot of us have become kind of apathetic, I guess you could say, over the years.
Or
It's
hopeless.
Hopeless. Yeah. I mean, the VA just does what it does, and it just pumps out prescriptions.
That's right.
And you either get on the program or you have conflict with your doctor, and they're like, you're not being a good patient.
Yes.
You're getting in the way of your own healing, right?
Yeah.
And so to be able to empower veterans to make decisions around how they want to heal, because, you know, we were just at a huge IW veterans IW and GSF integration retreat.
Yep. And Indiana was great.
In Indiana. And I think one of the main things that we keep hearing is that veterans have been told or micromanaged or dictated how they should heal their mental health.
Yes.
Whether it's, you know, one more diagnosis, one more prescription, you know, one more special type of doctor, or one more special type of therapy. And then if they seek outside of that, it's, you know, a guru or a book is going to be the silver bullet that's going to solve all your problems mental health wise.
We're indoctrinated with this, man. I mean,
Yeah.
we were talking, Dr. Larry Miller, you know, he was on our X Spaces show here the other night, or a couple weeks back now, I guess it was. And he was explaining, you know, back when he was a young man, a young doctor, starting practice in the 60s and the 70s, you know, the big point he was making was, you know, they didn't have psychotropic medications the way they have now. And so people that were dealing with these issues like PTSD and, you know, chronic depression and all of that, they treated these patients. These doctors and psychiatrists would spend, you know, a great deal of time with them doing in-depth, you know, psychotherapy. And now it's completely flipped the other way, where that's weird. You know, what was and was as effective as whatever that may have been. I don't know a whole lot about what the results were, you know, in those days. But to reject the SSRIs and reject the benzodiazepines and to reject the antidepressants, that is now considered some kind of blasphemy, or like you're weird for not wanting.
You're going against science.
Yeah, or just the way it is. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, that's just not how it's not been that way, you know, back in the days past. So why aren't we looking back to that and see what worked at those times? Because that's not even being approached right now.
True.
It's basically
True.
pills plus a little this plus a little that. And I think there's better ways.
Absolutely. And yeah, what we heard at the Indiana retreat is veterans have been told, like, you need to go get another diagnosis. You need to go do this. You need to go do that. And what we're learning from the folks that are finding healing through meditation or through nature or through plants and these different things is they're coming back and saying, I know how to heal me. Like, when I'm empowered with a bunch of different tools, my heart will call to certain things. And if I go engage with those and dig deeply inside of myself, I actually come up with my own plan and my own path to healing. And so it's what we're really trying to do. And one of the things that you all are saying in DC is we're giving back what, you know, we're giving back the life journey map that had been given to us and dictated to us. You're going to take these medications and you're going to, you know, heal because through these medications. And we're basically saying, we want to be empowered to write our own journey, right? We want to be empowered to take control of our own healing process, right? And it may include medications, it may not, but instead of having your healing dictated to you by somebody else, to understand that there's so many different tools available out there for you to create your own, build your own adventure, right? Choose your own
Absolutely.
adventure with your healing and what your heart calls to. It may seem odd to somebody else. Like someone may tell me, oh, I heal through every day for 1 hour. I garden, right? And I'm like, that's not for me. I'm more of a hiker, you know, but whatever, that's like their heart calls to them. And that's like something that helps them cultivate and be able to, while they're garden, they're able to mull over things from their past and able to think about things from different perspectives that they'd never considered before. And then they're able to resolve and let go of things while they're gardening, right?
That's right.
That sounds crazy to me, right? But it also is like wonderful for them, right?
Yeah.
So it's like they're healing themselves instead of the, oh, some expert's going to sit there and they're going to heal you. You know, that external person's
Yeah,
going to heal
and
you.
you know, it can be complicated and confusing at first because there are many paths up the mountain, as we say.
Yes.
And there's, you know, what speaks to you. The trick is finding what speaks to you. Well, how do you know when
Yes.
you have found something that speaks to you? Well, if you're really into gardening and you find yourself in a good place while you're engaged in that activity, I think that's telling you, like, explore this further. How can we turn this
Absolutely.
into something that's both mental and physical and spiritual and get you further down that road to achieve that thing that is that you're setting out to try to accomplish? And the proof's in the pudding. You know, I don't like gardening. My grandmother, my grandma was an older lady when I was a kid, so I spent many hours in the garden and snapping green beans and all those things that folks of my grandma's era.
I never got to
felt
do
be
any of
very
that. I
important.
never got to do any of that.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
So I mean, to me that would not speak to me, but someone like my grandmother, my aunts, my mom, people dig being outside. My wife, she really likes to go out and do. She loves to weed and mess with lawnscape and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It puts her in a place of peace.
Yes.
So it's like, that's enough, and that's at least a good starting point to really kind of figure out what it is that your soul is trying to tell
Yes.
you that
Yes.
connects for you.
And if 5 years from now, I know you well enough to know that if in 5 years from now you did feel the call to do some gardening, you'd
do
go
it.
do it. You wouldn't be
Absolutely.
you wouldn't be stubborn about it and be like, oh, I already made up my mind 10 years ago that I'm not a gardener, and so I'm going to be fixed in that way forever. You're like, well, let me maybe re-explore this door that I shut. Maybe I'll reopen it. Right?
Totally.
And that's
Totally.
another thing we see in the veteran space a lot is we do a really good job in the military of making everything black and white, right? The way you fire an AT-4 is you pull this, you push this, you look through here, and you fire that anti-tank rocket, and you hit the enemy armor, right? And so everything is very clear cut, right? There's not as much ambiguity unless you're making decisions on the fly in a firefight. All of a sudden, yes, you are being more creative. But there's a lot of, at least when you're in the lower ranks, it's black and white. And so a lot of times we want to make everything black and white. And we decide, oh, I'm not a yoga person. And then we now have said to ourselves, I'm not a yoga person. And so if somebody's like, come try yoga, in our own mind, we think, well, if I go try that, I'm having a lack of integrity because I've decided I'm not a yoga person.
Yeah.
And you get in this integrity conversation with your subconscious is going, nope, you're not a yoga person.
Yeah.
But then if it's weird, you could, if you actually think about it and go, wait, no, this isn't an integrity thing. Like, hold on, let me just explore it. And then you try it out and you're like, wow, this feels really good on my joints. It's so interesting how our mind can, it's like, nope, you got to have high integrity, which we all agree with, right? You want to have high integrity, but you can also look at things that in a new way. So it's like, it's fascinating.
It is a very fascinating world. And as I get older, I find that I am willing to go back and do things. And, I was a solid D- student in high school, barely made it through by the skin of my teeth. And I knew that school wasn't for me and the military was going to be my path. And, I used that as excuses not to do my homework and, all those things at the time. There's just things I was scared of. And then whenever I, went back to college in, much later age.
Yeah, you got a master's from Wash U.
Yeah.
So it's like you barely graduate from high school, and then you get a master's from like one of the top universities in the country.
Yeah. Well, and it turns out if you just read your assignments and do your homework, you make A's. That's what happened. Like
Discipline.
Shocker, But I was. It felt good to embrace that, and it really took the military experience to give me opportunities to excel. Back in my day, we had PLDC. I don't know what they call it now. It changes names every time you turn around, it seems like. But the sergeant school, right, for the Army.
Yeah, that's called Sergeant's Course in Quantico for the Marines.
Yeah, it was a peer leadership development course when I went through, and I know it's changed several times since then. But I was a distinguished honor graduate for my class, and that was the first time that I excelled, like really excelled. I did pretty good in AIT. I was a medic originally, and I was one of the 10% that got their National Registry of EMT thing, which didn't amount to a whole lot in the real world, but it was a big deal for me. And so that gave me the confidence, and then PLDC, and then I just continued to excel and become pretty high achieving, really, in a lot of ways, both in the military, and I pulled that out into the civilian side. And you learn, and it's by stepping in and being willing to attempt and getting out of your own way is when those things start to connect. At least that was my experience on it.
Sure. And it's terrifying. I understand trying something new is terrifying. And we notice that with a lot of our folks. Like, no, I'm not going to do yoga because what if I'm not good at it, right?
Yeah,
like,
especially if you're a veteran that talks shit about these types of
about
modalities.
Yoga.
Right.
Yeah, you talk shit about people that like yoga.
Right.
And then you're like, this is uncomfortable. And when something gets uncomfortable, we can shut down and be like, oh, that's stupid. People that do that are stupid. And it's like, life is all gray. It's not black and white. Even though we want it to be black and white, and we were taught from a young rank for it to be black and white, it's all gray.
Yeah.
And that's hard to wrestle with.
It is hard to wrestle with. So, so we're going to be jumping into what we have going on in D.C. What else are we talking about?
Float trip.
Float trip.
We've got the big annual IW float trip in the Ozarks, June 20th through the 22nd. So definitely going to talk about that as well. Those are our two big main things.
Yeah, I thought we had a third one. What's our third one? Celebrate St. Louis, man.
Oh, that's right.
July 4th.
Yeah, the 10-year IW anniversary concert in fireworks.
Yeah.
We can totally talk about that.
All right. Well, let's just start in order, chronological order of nearest target out, and just unpack this. And I think we've got a couple of guests maybe that might be joining us as well here today. So where do you want to start, man?
I want to start with DC, June 5th. You've got the IW hike starting at the VFW headquarters, right?
We do, and it's actually picking up the day before that.
Oh, nice. Tell us about it.
Everything's starting on the evening of June the 4th. And if you go over to gruntstylefoundation.org, and you'll see a thing that says RSVP, that'll take you over to the Eventbrite site where we have all the different tickets. There's 3 different types of tickets. The first set of tickets is for a screening of an amazing film called Medicating Normal. That is featuring our friend Angie Peacock, who is also a fellow WashU alum like yourself and myself.
Awesome.
And it turned out Angie was actually about a year behind me. And we had the same career counselor, or the same school counselor.
What year was that?
I graduated with my master's in 2015, and I think she popped out in 16, I believe it was.
Got it. Okay.
But so I was off in D.C. working, and my advisor, Elisa Wang, shout out to Elisa, called me and said, hey, I know you're off doing this advocacy stuff for veteran things. I want to introduce you to another student that's doing similar. Well, her issue back then, this would have been around 2015, 2016 when we met, and she was already working on and going through her grad school. I think she was a social work degree, I believe, if I remember right. But she was going there to engage this issue of overprescriptions of psychotropic medications, because she, at one point, was on like 18 pills or something like that at once.
What?
I mean, yeah, that's really crazy. And like to, completely wrecked her life. And she found her way off of those, and she went to grad school to champion this cause. She's involved in this project called Medicating Normal, which is the movie that we're going to be screening on the night of the 4th.
Okay.
And Angie has spent several years driving around the country in this cool RV van that she's a road warrior, man. She's legit. She's out spreading the message. She's an evangelist, and she's been getting after it for years. But she's the feature highlight there in the movie.
Is there any connection with veterans? Is it just the fact that we are the first group after 9/11 of folks to really go through a lot of trauma and be put on a lot of medications? Is that the connection?
Well, there's 2 of the characters in the movie. It's a documentary, so 2 of the people featured, I guess, maybe that's a better way to put it, are veterans, and they're really showcasing the veteran experience of these overprescriptions of psychotropics. And then the other folks that are in the movie are, of course, not from the military. So, I mean, it really highlights this isn't some kind of just veteran-specific issue.
No.
I think the value that the veteran community brings into that topic is that we are way overprescribed compared to the civilian hospitals and civilian
Sure.
type health system, and so it's from such an extreme source of the problems that they're dealing with. It makes for more of a compelling narrative. But at the end, one of the takeaways I think from that movie and all the things that are out there on this topic at this point are that this guy's trauma is not any greater than this other person's trauma, at least to them. Every trauma is trauma,
Totally.
and you got to deal with it. And how do you deal with it? How do you deal with it, in a healthier way than what some other options may be out there?
Yes.
So it's a powerful thing, but that'll be on the evening. Angie will be talking after the screening, but those tickets are free if anybody would like to come to the movie screening and check that out. It's over at gruntstylefoundation.org. Just click on the RSVP flyer for that, and you can get your free tickets from that.
Awesome.
Then moving into the 5th at 8:30 a.m., we will be having a press conference at the Triangle space at the U.S. Capitol. So over on I guess that's the Senate side, or maybe it's the House side. I don't remember. But at any rate, Senator Jerry Moran, so maybe it's the Senate side. He's arranged that press conference for us.
Wow.
And so we will be having
A senator, a U.S. senator,
Yeah.
arranged it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So you got to have those kinds of buy-ins to get that space for press conferences when you're doing it, at the Capitol building. So it's a big win. So we've got some political capital, built up over the years. So we're cashing in some of that and working with people that have been good friends and allies to the veteran space.
Good.
So Senator Moran is the head of the SVAC, which is that committee that oversees the VA. So that's encouraging, where the Senate committee chair for the SVAC is aware of the issue and the fact that we're speaking on it and all these things. So, I mean, that's a good positive indicator. Things are maybe brewing. That's going to be a sunnier position on the horizon,
Excellent. And then leading into that, press conference is an IW hike, right?
It is.
So we're starting at the VFW headquarters.
Yep.
So they're a part of this as well. They're all in.
They are all in. In
Yep.
fact, that's going to be the major part, I guess you could say, of what it is that we're doing. At the end of we're going to try to time it. Who knows how accurate it will be, but I think it's going to be pretty good. But they'll come marching in to the press conference about the time it starts. So here you'll have this IW parade, coming into this press conference at the Capitol.
Wonderful.
We've commissioned this beautiful skull. It looks like it's made out of crystal. It's not. It's plastic, but it looks like a crystal skull, like from Indiana Jones, but pretty big.
Yep.
And the top of it's off, and there's a little hole in the bottom, and it's sitting on this podium.
Okay.
And the IW folks will come for the press conference, and then at the end of the press conference, all the veterans will throw their empty prescription pill bottles into the skull.
Awesome.
And the bottles will drop down into that little box. And
Awesome.
so it's a symbolic, returning of these things that are attached to us that no longer serve us or
Totally.
are helpful to us, and is a contributing factor in our suicide rates. So we're rejecting that, and we're throwing those into that skull. Then that afternoon, we will have a symposium. It's a mental health wellness roundtable where we are bringing in the top talent from around the planet to come in and talk on this. We've got experts coming in from the United Kingdom, from Copenhagen.
Wow.
We've got the top folks here in the United States. We've got family members of veterans that have taken their lives. We've worked with some very special people. The Brumfield family and the McDaniels family have been really a big active part of this and been a big driving force for a good number of months now. And we'll also be featuring Dr. Larry Miller, whose son, Mark Miller, MA2 Mark Miller, who committed suicide as a form of protest against these psychotropic medications at the Audie Murphy VA hospital in San Antonio. And
Yeah.
that was about a month ago. And there's been 16 of those now. He makes the 16th veteran that has taken their life at the VA. In an attempt to have their message heard.
Unbelievable,
So
because it
heavy
didn't
stuff.
feel like anybody would listen to him. It's unbelievable. And then the
Yeah.
families you were talking about, I mean, I'm pretty sure both of those incidents were where their children went to the VA, were prescribed something, and then had suicidal ideation because of the pharmaceuticals they were prescribed.
Yes, that's exactly right.
And then took their own life.
Yeah,
and it's like it just feels like it all gets brushed under the rug.
And they're telling you what it is.
I know you keep like these pharmaceuticals have these label warnings on them that it may increase suicidal ideation, yet
Right.
we're giving it to veterans
Right.
and in mass quantities. And then it feels like when I bring it up or talk to somebody, you know, at a family dinner that's outside of the veteran community, they're like, they have no idea that any of this could be going on. And it's just, it just feels like these stories they just don't stick or something. And so we've got to just start screaming them in the veteran community, you know, and just constantly share these stories, because these families that we know are a drop in the bucket. There's thousands and thousands of families.
Well, there's been 162,000 that we know of definitively since 9/11 that are veterans that have taken their lives.
Right.
And
So,
there's who knows how many we don't know.
Right. And I'm sure, you know, if a percentage of those were because of the medications they were put on caused suicidal ideation, you're talking about thousands and thousands of veterans' lives.
That's right.
Because of this process.
That's right.
And back to trying empowering folks to take back, you know, their own healing journey. I think that's the ticket.
It's the start. The message is reject the status quo, but our proposed solution is informed consent. You know, because right now the biggest immediate problem where we don't need legislation or an outright rejection of these types of pills altogether. What we can start with is informed consent. So whenever a healthcare provider is wanting to put you on these medications, you deserve as the patient to be aware of what it is
could
that you're
increase
taking
your suicidal thoughts.
Yes, exactly.
You would
Seems like
think
a
that
big
would
point.
come up.
And so many of these things with the antidepressants or even the benzos, some of these things are meant for, like, you know, crisis intervention, and you're on it for a very short period of time. That's the intention. And we routinely at the foundation here, are running into people that have been on these pills that are designed to be on for, you know, a short number of weeks, that have been on them for 13 years or more in some cases. So it's somebody's not doing their job is what it boils down to.
Right.
But we want to have the doctor talk through with the patient, look, this is what this is, here are the potential side effects. And by the way, let's go ahead and do a deep dive on what other medications that you are on or may have been on and see how these things interact.
The fact that we have to advocate for this to be done is mind-boggling.
Well, I tell you, I've done some time in the VA. Then it makes perfect sense.
Oh, I know. One of my really close friends went to the VA for treatment and is now no longer with us.
That's exactly right. And so, you know, there's a good bit of that outrage, you know, that we're carrying into that exact issue, that exact instance. You know, it does not set well with me. It does not set well with any of us.
Well, feel free to bring him.
we might.
Feel free to bring him to the DC press conference. Awesome, yeah. So in this symposium, was there anything else you wanted to share with us that's going to happen? And you were saying that people can go to gruntstylefoundation.org to get tickets to all these different things
and they're all
in
free.
DC.
We have to limit them by number of tickets because we only have so much space available. So we've got for that symposium, there's 75 tickets that are available. We've got another 75 that are not publicly accessible that are for members of Congress and their staff.
That's
and
June
folks
5th?
like that.
Yep.
That is for June 5th.
And then June 4th is
noon.
Okay, noon, June 5th. And then the free tickets for June 4th are for the film screening.
Correct. And then there's also tickets for the press conference with the IW. That's just to help our amazing LC in DC, by the way, Miss
Kimberly.
Pond. She is grade A. Like, holy cow, is that gal on it? I am so impressed with her. Every time I talk to her, she's just really on the ball. But yeah, so that's to help Kim get a good idea on the head count and help shepherd all the folks.
Yes, yeah. Kimberly's lived it too. I mean, she's really lived her own, taking back control of her own healing journey and seeing what calls to her heart. And
That's right.
she does a great job of mentoring there in DC. Yeah.
Well, and you know, also, this is a good opportunity to also highlight, I know we didn't say we're going to talk about this one, but Senate Bill 3 down in Texas.
Okay.
And all the Texas madness that's going on in Texas around the hemp industry. The state of Texas passed legislation on Senate Bill 3, which is basically criminalizing hemp-derived products that are intoxicating, except for the beverage industry, which that's perfectly fine. But everything else, it jumps out of conformity with the 2018 Farm Bill. And,
is that from a business strategy standpoint? I would think that if I own a distributorship, like an alcohol distributorship, and I'm finding out that cannabis is biting into my profit margins, that what I would try to do is use whatever means necessary to cut them out of the market in order for me to be this single distributor of a product, so that all revenue and profit comes to me.
That's essentially it. And I think that you've got a weird blend, man. Texas is an awesome state in so many ways, and in so many ways it's just what? Like they've passed this legislation on Ibogaine. So Ibogaine's moving forward in the state of Texas. Now this is the most powerful psychedelic on planet Earth.
Yeah, I mean, no problem. It's been shown to actually be able to cure heroin addiction, which is like the problem nobody's been... Parkinson's.
Right. Parkinson's.
I don't even know about that.
Yeah, it regrows the white matter on the brain, which is where a lot of the neurological issues are taking place. And so it's literally regrowing that white matter. So it is. It's not just treating the symptoms of Parkinson's. It is curing it, right? So it has that potential. I don't know if it'll do that for everybody, but a dear friend of mine just got back from Cancun yesterday, down from a group called Transcend Ibogaine, and had a massive, powerful healing for some of his personal demons that have been haunting him. So I mean,
incredible.
This thing is galloping, and over the next 12, 18 months, you're going to see that start to advance in Texas. Now, at the same time, they
want to illegalize cannabis.
Yeah. They got a booze hound lieutenant governor that's cutting videos down there. I think he's trying to do some sketch comedy, because if you're old enough to remember the movie Footloose, where they just wouldn't let the kids dance because Jesus is watching you and doesn't like dancing or what have you. Yeah, I think he's channeling that character from the movie, the pastor that was running the town that didn't want the kids to dance. Yeah, that's the guy. He's lieutenant governor of the state of Texas. And they're telling, it's just the craziest propaganda, man. Like, watch these videos. I mean, YouTube it. It's the country's skewering this guy and just how comedic gold this stuff is. I mean, it's really to the level of like, now we have the weird case of young Timmy Jones, who one time he did 3 marijuanas and was hit by a train. And, there's no proof that young Timmy existed. I don't know if the guy's just sleeping off a bender, and young Timmy came along with that. But I do understand that he might be a little influenced with some of those intoxicating beverage companies that are doing the mocktail. So it might be some of that. So maybe some of that.
Sure.
But we're on it. But the reason I brought all that up was our president of our board, Tim Jensen, went down yesterday and met with Governor Abbott's office, along with 3 of the power hitters inside of the VFW. So they had the national quartermaster, they had the national legislative director, Mitch Fuller, and the incoming state commander for the VFW, and Tim, who's also the post commander for Post 76 down there in San Antonio. They all went and had a very productive conversation, and so hope remains that Governor Abbott might be able to save this shitstorm scenario that his lieutenant governor has created for him, as he's having to deal with all the mockery and things. He's reaping the whirlwind with his lieutenant governor. So
fascinating.
So they may still be able to get a veto on this thing, because this stuff is going on in like Iowa and Tennessee and several other states, like 4 or 5 more other states, similar legislation. So if we can get Governor Abbott to veto this, and that the veteran population had a large hand in this, in pushing things that way, that might be a good warning shot across the bow to these other states where these similar causes have been launched. And, it's no accident this stuff is popping up with such similar written language and always seems to benefit the same certain groups of people. But if Abbott, digs in and, makes a stand on that, maybe that'll make this a little easier to get over the hump. So,
well, speaking of cannabis legalization, Missouri is completely legal, free and legal. We don't have any restrictions on that plant at all from a CBD standpoint or anything else. And thanks to you, your hard work. But we also have a giant IW event coming up in Missouri.
Yes, we do.
June 20th through the 22nd.
That's right.
We've got the float trip. And this is the annual IW float trip. This is the inaugural, I might want to add.
And you're also going to have to explain what a float trip is for people not in Missouri, because every time I say a float to somebody that's not from Missouri, they understand it to be completely different, whether in an inner tube or something like that. They don't use the same language we do here.
It's
apparently.
canoe and kayaking on a gorgeous, gorgeous river in the Ozarks. And we actually have two guests we're going to bring on that are going to walk us through it. Two special guests that are going to walk us through what we're going to do. But yes, it's canoeing and kayaking in a gorgeous, gorgeous stretch of the Ozarks. Evergreen trees, clear water, giant fish. It's going to be really, really, really something special. And so June 20th through the 22nd. And we're going to have our guests tell us a little bit more about it.
All right, who are we bringing on first?
We are going to bring up Ryan and Roy. Hey, gentlemen, how's it going?
Doing good.
Doing good.
Awesome. All right. First, I'm going to start out with Ryan. Ryan is a Marine Corps veteran, 1st Marine Division. We were in the same unit, 11th Marine Regiment. Yeah. And Ryan has been kayaking and canoeing. How many years now, Ryan, have you been doing this?
I started as a child. My parents used to put me in a car seat in the canoe. We had a farm down by the river. And on my own, probably since I was 6 or 7 years old, going down the rivers in a canoe. So I have a lot of years of it.
Nice, very nice. All right, well, tell us a little bit about this stretch of the Merrimack that we're going to hit this time of year, and tell us a little bit about, talk to us about what people can expect. Like somebody from a different part of the country that comes, to tell us, how beautiful is it? What type of scenery are we going to be looking at?
It's a very easy. There's not a lot of brush, shallow water, so it's pretty clear. I don't know if I'm echoing. It sounds like, but we'll have rafts, which you can put 4 to 6 people in a raft and float together. Tubes, canoes, and kayaks, whatever you decide to do, or whatever works best for you. There's a lot of bluffs along the Merrimack, and the Merrimack, I think it's 180 miles long, somewhere around there. And this is the upper part, so it's a lot prettier part than down lower. If you've been around the Merrimack in St. Louis, it's kind of brown, muddy water. Not as bad as the Mississippi, but close. But yeah, it's going to be about a 5-mile float, and if you raft or tube it, it's, depending how much you stop on the gravel bars and hang out, you're looking maybe 6 to 8 hours on that. Canoeing the 5 miles, you can do it at an hour and a half if you wanted to. A lot of people like to stop and take their time, swim, hang out in the water. There'll be some deep holes along the way, and it's not a strong current, so even if you're not a strong swimmer, you're able to still get in the water. It's almost like getting in a lake on that. But
awesome. Thank you so much.
Ryan, tell us a little bit about the work that you do with veterans doing this kind of activity as part of mental health care, really.
And that I was with River Runner for about 3 years, and that was a lot more white water than regular water, but we did do some of the regular floats like this. You get out there and it clears your mind. It changes a lot of things. You forget about a lot of stuff while you're on the water. It improves mental health drastically on that. And there are several veteran organizations. Heroes on the Water is a kayak fishing group. We have Team River Runner throughout the U.S. I kind of stepped away from that. There was someone involved that's a civilian that kind of overstepped her bounds towards veterans, and I didn't feel it was right. So instead of her stepping down, I kind of stepped away. But, kayaking in general, or floating, even if you get in a raft or a tube down a river, you forget about everything that's going on. You're in the moment. You see a lot of wildlife. It's not like everything's flying by. And especially with the Missouri Ozark streams, the stuff you get to see on these streams is amazing. But I do a
Wow,
lot
wow, that's powerful.
where I'll float for 2 to 3 days at a time, sleep on a gravel bar that looks good and comfortable with plenty of firewood. And I mean, it helps, and it helps a lot. I'd like to start bringing more people out on those and getting that type of floats going.
I really like the idea of an overnight. I mean, we are doing an overnight, what we're about to talk through, but it's more of a campground with cabins.
More glamping.
It's more
really.
glamping, yeah. This float trip
Definitely
that we're talking
glamping.
about is more glamping. But I wanted to mention that I do see in the future us doing more of that expeditionary style with a smaller group. You know, I think that would be really cool to just be able to actually just go down the river and camp on the river. But thank you so much for painting that picture for us, Ryan. I really appreciated that. I am so looking forward to the wildlife and seeing the fish and seeing the turtles and all the things and being next to those bluffs in the water. You know, there's something serene, like you said. It really brings you a level of peace.
Yes.
Roy, I know, has been working really hard to get everything set up for the campground itself. And so, Roy, I'd love for you to talk about how people can book tickets, and I'd also like for you to talk about the actual campground and the amenities and the offer, the opportunities that exist.
Sure. So to get tickets, it's real simple. You're going to go to OperationOzarkFloat.com. Take you right into the IW landing page to buy your tickets right there. We just recently redid prices. So if you've been there before and you checked it out and it seemed like it was a little bit too much to you, go back and check it out again. We just dropped the prices down some. Um, Hopefully that'll incentivize some of them people that were sitting on the fence to come out and join us for a good time.
So you can also get tickets for that through, or at least a link over to the website Roy just mentioned over at gruntstylefoundation.org as well. It's on the main landing page. You can see the flyer there. It says Operation Ozark Float Trip, and just click that on RSVP, and that'll take you over there for tickets as well as that. Can you give us the details, Roy, on what do tickets cost and what all do they include?
Sure. So new ticket prices are $99 for adults, and that gets you general admission, camping for the weekend, and 3 meals, and a river voucher for you for your boat, or at least your seat in a boat. Most boats take more than one person, so if you're in a canoe, it'll get half the boat, and then either you get a partner or we'll get you a partner to paddle down the river with. If you want a bigger boat, like one of the rafts, those go up to 8-person. And if you don't have 8 people in your group, we'll help you fill up the boat.
So I know that we had talked about coming up with an additional package and offering for the tickets, and that is a family rate. We want to make this approachable and accessible to everybody because, folks, this is not just a veteran float. This is for veterans. This is for first responders. This is for family. This is for friends. This is for patriots. If you love the Constitution and you want to go get weird on the water in the Ozark Mountains in Missouri,
absolutely
come along.
Yes,
we're going to get weird. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we're going to wear silkies
because we don't have people like Lieutenant Governor Patrick in our state in Missouri.
Yeah, we're going to celebrate that, and we're going to wear silkies, and we're going to wave American flags and our different military unit flags as well.
That's right.
And we've got cabins available that are air conditioned for anybody that you can upgrade to that. You can upgrade to a cabin if you want. If you don't want a tent camp, you can bring your RV. There's tons of RV hookups, and that is also an opportunity if you want to bring your RV. And yeah, we're gonna hook you up. We're gonna do meals. We're gonna do bonfires. We're gonna do time on the water. It's perfect for bringing the kids. A lot of folks are bringing their kids. It's very, very hospitable. animals, kids. You know, it's going to be great. Bring your friends.
Bring your friends, bring your
Patriots.
family, bring your dogs, bring
Yep.
everything. And,
Patriots welcome.
Share this message, folks. We're gonna, and we'll, you know, if you just want to share this video with a little highlight on it, invite your friends to come, or go over to our website and copy the link and put it on your social media, or maybe
Yes.
we'll take this video and cut it down and throw some distributable content that paints the narrative of what all this is and exactly who's welcome. But help us out.
Yes.
Spread the word. We've got room for many, many people at this thing. We have literally rented an entire campsite, ground, like the
It's
thing,
rented out.
like
It's
all of
us.
it.
Yep,
That's
it's
us.
just us.
So yeah, again, you don't have to be a veteran. Just you just gotta love the Constitution and the people that have defended it. So that's not
Yes.
the only requirement. As long as you meet that criteria, we're gonna have a good time together on the Ozarks waterways.
We've got the water. We've got the food. We've got the. We've got
What are we doing for music?
We've got your bathrooms. We've got everything covered.
What about music? I think we talked about bands. Has that materialized?
We haven't materialized any bands yet, but we do have one DJ lined up, and apparently we have a second one in house that we're working on here now. Can we announce the coming out of retirement for DJ Hugh?
There we go. I like that idea.
Well, I DJ with vinyl records from the '90s, and
Okay,
so
they won't
I don't
rust.
know. It depends on the heat. I don't know if we're going to be able to do it.
Can melt the wax.
You don't want to melt the wax.
From
Mostly, if your records are out in the sun, they actually warp. That's which I guess melting. Technically, you're melting the wax.
Yeah, you don't ever melt the wax from your scratching.
No. I've got special diamond tipped needles, not cheap. That's what they are. They're about $200 a piece, and I got
Really?
those special DJ diamond tip needles. They go both directions, so that I can scratch and it doesn't harm the record.
So what's the difference? What's the alternative to a diamond tip needle?
Different types of. There's a bunch of different types of synthetic materials and things that are used for styluses.
That's awesome.
Yep.
There's like a
Yep.
whole science to it.
Oh, unbelievable!
Dude,
Yeah,
let's-
I mean,
hey,
depends
man,
on
let's-
what type of music you're listening
Let's
to.
set that up as a clash right now for our September event, which is coming up,
Nice.
everybody, ladies and gentlemen. It's
Nice.
our integration event. Maybe we could get DJ Hugh Tyson to give us a little
Holistic
class,
healing.
holistic healing through. Yeah, that sounds like a plan to me, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Roy. We appreciate the information, and look forward to seeing you guys on June the 20th out
Yes.
there on the river. So let's move ahead here as we're getting ready to wrap things up by talking about what's coming up on the 4th of July. My God,
4th of
IW
July.
is everywhere. We are on
Yes.
the march, man. All
Yes,
right.
GSF and Irreverent Warriors have the backstage VIP area that they have dedicated of the Gavin DeGraw concert.
Yeah, that's cool.
Underneath the St. Louis Arch on the Mississippi River on the 4th of July. 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. We're selling tickets on the IW website. It's our 10-year anniversary, so the tickets to the backstage area are $10 a piece. They're going to go very quickly. We only have 100 slots, so I would get in there now. But we do the biggest in St. Louis. This is the biggest fireworks display in the United States. You're seeing it right here on the screen, and it is in front of the St. Louis Arch over the Mississippi River. It will be bursting directly above our VIP area, and we will have food. We will have drinks. Your ticket covers everything, and it's for friends and family as well. But with the Irreverent Warriors, we are celebrating our 10-year anniversary with this massive concert. Usually about 70,000 to 75,000 people show up for this concert.
Yeah, it's big.
And so all of downtown St. Louis is just completely packed. And you're seeing it here on the screen, but this is the Celebrate St. Louis, which is powered this year by GSF and Irreverent Warriors.
That's right.
And so we are going to be doing a mini Silkies hike. To kick everything off, we're going to be going from Busch Stadium in Ballpark Village all the way down Market, all the way through the St. Louis Arch. We're getting special permission from the Park Service. We're going to go through the St. Louis Arch. We're going to go down the stairs to the Mississippi River and then up onto the stage to kick everything off. And we're going to do a toast to our friends that are no longer with us, because as we know, 22 of our brothers and sisters every day will not wake up tomorrow because of this issue. And so we are going to we're coming down. We're going up on stage. We're making a big scene, and then we're all going to our VIP area backstage, and we're just going to have an absolute blast.
All right, I see there's a comment here on Facebook from Billy McGee asking where he can get VIP tickets for that at.
The VIP tickets are on the Irreverent Warriors website. If you look under events, you'll see July 4th, and you'll be able to pick tickets for this.
Yeah, that's going to be amazing, man. I know last year, my God, was it hot. But I know this year we've got that that consideration in mind on how to make that a little more fun, given the 4th of July heat that can be in St. Louis. I think we got some misters and big swamp fan kind of a thing going on. So it should be a little more comfortable out there this year than it was last year.
Yes, we're going to have fans and shade. It's going to be totally different than it was last year.
Because I melted last year. Me and your records, we both melted.
Yep, that was also, we were doing it at noon. Now it's at 4 p.m. after the heat has broken.
Yeah, that's much better.
But if you said his name was Billy?
Yeah.
If he wants to email me at info@irreverentwarriors.com and ask for the 4th of July link, I'll send it directly to him personally.
All right, there you go, Mr. McGee. You've got it directly from Hugh. Well, man, that's all exciting stuff. You know, oh, by the way, did you know that area was once a battlefield, like a legit battlefield?
Oh, I believe it.
I had no idea until I got really researching in some St. Louis history here a while back. And
it's a perfect place for a fort.
It was the Battle of Fort San Carlos, which was the only battle west of the Mississippi River during the Revolutionary War. It happened right there at the intersection of 4th and Walnut. I think that's right where the basilica is. That intersection.
Yeah,
it was a 40-foot tall, 30-foot diameter round tower, and they brought down the cannons from old Fort Bellefontaine. And it was a bunch of French settlers and Spanish colonial militia and a bunch of folks that were from the area. And they fought off a combined force of natives and British soldiers that sacked first Cahokia and took about 127,000 odd, or not 127,000, but about 127 folks captive to disappear into the frontier, never to be seen again.
Wow.
But good old Fort San Carlos remained strong, and that's what shaped the geography that led to the pressure on the end of the Revolutionary War. A little bit of forgotten history that's right here in St. Louis, but that happened way back in 1780. So we're going to be partying on the same places where folks were getting struck down under the thunder of cannon fire so many
Talk
years
about
ago.
Independence on the 4th of July.
Independence on the 4th of July.
This our VIP backstage area is over where this battle took place.
Literally, it was literally in those two areas, like where the stage is would have been between the north and the south cannon emplacements.
Wow! Yeah. And then the fireworks are essentially going to recreate that battle, right? This is we got to blow this up. We got to make this even bigger.
Cool. It's cool.
IW 10-year anniversary and the United States' anniversary.
There we go.
Yes.
You guys heard it here.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Well, do you want to any final parting words here before we wrap this episode up?
We bring veterans together using humor and camaraderie to improve mental health and prevent veteran suicide. Thank you for joining us.
All right.
Peace out.